It basically is like this, right? It's like, this is how I imagine the Capcom offices, right? I'm just doing the blog, I'm going to tell them about Vega. And the other guy's like, tell them about TAP. What do you mean? Well, what are you talking about TAP? Nothing's changed about TAP. Yeah, just remind them. Tell them to remind them about TAP. They're still in the game. Yeah, but why would I do that? That's like suicide. Why would I do that? Just end the blog on TAP. I'm telling you, it'd be hilarious. Are you drunk?
It's Matt Dahlgren drunk on Appletinis.
Are you drunk? Of course I'm drunk. It's Thursday morning.
Born free as the wind blows.
Hello guys, welcome back to the Nameless Fighting Game Show, Episode 9, with myself, Born Free, and Velociraptor. Velociraptor, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good. I woke up, I feel pretty rested, and we got information about Street Fighter V's upcoming balance patch and new content, and it's kind of a mixed bag. I think it's mostly positive, but it's weird. It's a weird way of presenting this information to us, and there's a lot of confusion running rampant through social media right now, and I think it is up to us to clarify some things.
Yeah, alright, so the first thing to clarify, I think, is that TAP is unchanged.
Officially, yes. TAP is exactly like it is in the game right now. It's not getting buffed, because all of us had a heart attack to think that, oh, the things they changed were they gave Dalsum a slightly better standing heavy punch and they buffed TAP, which would have been hilarious, but that's not the case. It is the same move.
I think it's still hilarious, just to remind us that TAP's in the game. I think it's just a brilliant, brilliant blog post. It's like, hey, here's the Vega stage. Hey, TAP's third in the game. Check it out. You want to see the you want to see the frame data for it? The frame data is really fucking good. You're gonna love this.
So let's before we go in on this, let's just clarify really quick. What we got today was a list of what looks like buffs, changes that are buffs to TAP. What they actually is a list of what was changed from Season 1 into Season 2. Okay?
Yeah.
And for some reason, these apparently didn't make it into the initial patch notes changelog when Capcom released back in, was it like January or something like that? These didn't make it into there. But Balrog has been playing with an Invincible on Frame 1, Throw Invincible on Frame 1 TAP since Season 2 dropped. I just tested that myself. I had a conversation with Javits, and I had a conversation with one of our local Balrog whizzes. Shoutouts to Sean Dude. And yes, confirmed, these are not buffs. These were the buffs that went from Season 1 to Season 2. Cool. Now we got that out of the way. Balrog's not changing, at least with TAP. But go on. You put it well earlier when you talked about this. How they must have gone about.
I mean, I've probably got a clip from earlier I can use, but it's essentially kind of a just odd way to put it into a blog. End a positive blog with, hey guys, just a reminder, TAP's in the game, and here's a reminder of the invincible frame data. You know, it's like, I'm being a little bit facetious, but it wasn't worded. They didn't
tell us. They didn't tell us that. We had to figure that out. The way they phrased it, it sounds like Balrog's getting buffs to his TAP.
No, I know. So the Twitter world freaked out. My Twitter world, at least. The world that I am, the people that I follow, freaked the hell out. No one's talking about the Vega stage, the Vega stage is like so cool. It's like, oh, the Vega stage is back in. So, let's not dwell on that. Like, everybody I know who watches this show, and people I follow and all that stuff, have probably all seen the same tweets and know what's happened by now, and we've kind of, I guess, helped try to clear that up. Maybe I'll do a huge thumbnail saying TAP unchanged, because that seems to be the news of the day. But no, Vega stage is cool. the prophecy is coming true. I think it may have been that guy X-Kiro who started it. I'm not 100% sure. But there's this rumor going around that eventually we will get... So essentially what's potentially going to happen is we're going to get Sagat, we're going to get Sagat Stage, and then by that time you will have all 4 of the original bosses from Street Fighter 2, and you will have all 4 of the original stages from Street Fighter 2, and then potentially you can set up, for nostalgia's purpose, and because people love arcade mode, you can set up the Super Street Fighter, I think it's Super Street Fighter 2 arcade mode, would be the best one, because that's one with Akuma, which you could secretly unlock.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you would essentially fight 8 characters, and then you would fight 4 bosses. It might not be the same 8 characters from Street Fighter 2, because they're not all there, like Honda's not there and whatever. Right. But you would fight 8 characters, you would fight 4 bosses, and you would potentially unlock Akuma. And of course, you know, I want to remind, one of the reasons people love arcade mode over, let's say, story mode, or whatever, you know, like, 'cause story mode's a little bit different. The reason people really love arcade mode, I believe, and this was written by actually a professional gamer, and it reminded me of my childhood, is that people actually like to beat arcade mode a bit like speedruns. Mm-hmm. Arcade mode was always that thing where it was like, can I do it without losing a game? Can I do it without losing a round? Can I do it with all perfects? Can I do it with this score? Can I do it... Whatever, right? There was always like
and they would encourage that, because they would give you, like in Street Fighter 4, I played through arcade mode. I'm not an arcade mode player anymore like I was when I was a kid. But I played through arcade mode because you could unlock Shin Oni, Shin Evil Ryu, Shin Goken, and not only was it like I got the secret thing, but those characters would have like different types of like buffs of their moves. Same thing with like Akuma being OP in Street Fighter 2. And so there was a little bit of a reward, like the completionist in you, or like just that sometimes you feel like practicing combos on the computer and trying to unlock that thing. And so yes, there is a special significance in arcade mode in fighting games. I totally agree with you.
And you know, and then you know, again, I go back to this. I can't remember who it was. It was a professional. I loved it because it was actually a pro gamer. Because normally pro gamers are like, I've never played arcade mode. I don't know, you know, whatever. But they all did when they were kids, right? And this guy was just harking back to being a child, and I remember it well because guess what? When I was a kid, I entered a competition. My first ever competition, like let's say tournament, but it wasn't a tournament, right? It was a single player competition where I actually went to a place called Curry's, which all my English followers may remember. I don't believe it exists anymore in England. There's an electronics store called Curry's, and they ran a competition where you would go in, you would play Street Fighter 2 on the SNES, and you would get the highest score you could possibly get in arcade mode, and you would take a photo of the screen, and it would be entered into a national competition. And like that was kind of like, I guess I'm trying to explain like how cool it was back then, you know, for me. And that when I think about that, that's how I remember how significant arcade mode is to people, to a large group of people. Like, it's not that significant to me anymore. But, like, if they brought back Super Street Fighter 2 arcade mode, I would fucking play it, for sure.
I'd mess around with it, yeah. You know, in 4, it was a while back. It might have been, like, Arcade Edition days or something like that, maybe even before. And I forget who it was off the top of my head. Maybe you'll know. But someone found out how to basically do, like, almost infinites with Chun-Li's lightning legs combos. And they weren't quite infinites, but they were for, like, forever. Maybe it was. And he went through all of arcade mode and got this ridiculous, like, maxed out the score or something like that with it because you get more points for longer combos. So little challenges like that, too. They definitely offer something to the entire experience of the game. So, well, I don't know that we should get too far ahead of ourselves because at this point we have Balrog stage, Bison stage, and Vega stage. And it's a pretty big thing to ask for Sagat stage and Sagat.
Is it though? Is it really that big a thing?
Have you been around for the last year and a half with Street Fighter 5?
I know, that's what I'm saying though. Is it really that big a deal? I know what you're saying. Listen, I think
I think I get what you're saying.
Each other. I'm just saying, is it really that big a deal to ask for, like, whatever. I think Sagat's coming out this year, 30th anniversary of Street Fighter, first ever boss in Street Fighter. Sagat should be out this year as a bonus character, and if Sagat comes out, his stage should come out, and if his stage comes out, then they should do a Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter 4 arcade mode. I think.
2, but yes.
But you know what? We haven't really talked about Vega's stage. So Vega's stage is clearly, clearly going to be banned. Like, there's no.
Well, okay, but I think it's, especially if it's as cool as it looks when it comes out. It would only be banned if they were a Vega player,
right?
Because and otherwise, I think it should be totally tournament legal. I mean, unless there's some special, like, also Rashid can go off the wall or whatever off the cage.
He probably
but
can.
no, I really hope that it's not, and with the exception of Vega players, because also that's going to make memes and stuff like that too against Vega players, and whatever. But no, it looks like a really cool stage.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. I didn't think about that. You're absolutely right. It can be played. As long as there's no Vega player in the match, you're good. A Vega player in the match. Somebody tweeted, I can't remember who it was, somebody tweeted that, it's not advantageous for Vega because you definitely know a wall dive is coming, right? But, this is the funny thing about the tweet, but it could be used for timeouts, but it shouldn't be banned. And I was like, wait, it can be used for timeouts?
It's not. There's no way you can. It's not competitive. This was a situation back in, was it Championship Edition, I want to say, where you could play as Vega and you could go on the stage. And yeah, you could use it for timeouts, and I think the properties were buffed or something like that with his wall dives. No, you're not gonna. That's way too muddy of waters. We're not gonna begin to you can play it in a tournament. No Vega on that stage. I think that's safe to say. But as long as it doesn't affect anything else besides Vega, I think it should be fine as another tournament stage. What'll be interesting though is playing in ranked mode. I usually have random stage, and I always get embarrassed if Skies of Honor or whatever pops up and I'm player 1 because then I feel bad. But
you scumbag! You scumbag! You have it on random for ranked matches?
Yeah.
Wait,
what's wrong with that?
Online?
Yeah, my connection here.
You're the Skies of Honor guy.
Not traditionally. It happens from time to time. And I want to have this stage as a potential too, but they also said that in the next balance patch, you're going to be able to turn certain stages off. So turn it on random, but say all stages except for this one will be in that shoot. And so you'll probably have to turn this one off because maybe you get matched up with a Vega in ranked and you have this stage, and then it'd be funny. It's
a bizarrely smart decision. I say bizarrely because there's 100 decisions like that can be made to improve the user experience, right? And that's actually a really good one. And I hope they continue in that vein. I actually think it's primarily probably for CPT, like everything else. So I think it's to make sure that certain stages don't appear during CPT. But I don't know how they would deal with... It would be interesting to have an option where it was like the Vega stage will appear... It's not going to... I don't think they could make it work. But the Vega stage would appear but get switched out if you don't pick Vega.
Yeah. Or just have a competitive mode where Vega can't go off the wall or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good... Yeah, that's also a good idea.
I mean, you kind of see that in Injustice 2 where there's a very non-competitive mode and you just flip a switch and then it's okay, and this is what we're going to use for tournament. But I don't expect that in Street Fighter 5. I think it's just going to be you can't play the stage, and they'll probably go as far as just banning it outright in tournaments. But if it were me, I would say Vega stage is totally fine as long as no one's playing Vega.
Yeah, I agree. Are you excited?
No, okay. So that's kind of what I want to get into next. Let's set the landscape just a little bit to refresh people's minds. Okay, so we were supposed to get this next update with Ed with the CFN update. I assume Ed because it's been said that he is tied to the CFN update, and the reason why we didn't get him.
It is Ed. We're going to get Ed on the 30th.
So this was supposed to happen at the end of April. So obviously the big, the sore thumb sticking out is the fact that we're here in the end of May and we're getting it now. So we're getting these balance updates again. We're getting Ed, the new character. We're getting this cool new stage with this little bit of a new dynamic. It is a month late, But we are getting all this and this surprise of the new stage. How do we feel right now? How does the community feel? Is it a net positive? Are we happy that we're at least finally getting it? Or is the taste of it's delayed and negative Street Fighter V still on our tongues too much? Like, what is the general feel? How are we excited? Are we not? Where are we at?
I'll be honest with you, I'm fed up with not being excited, so I'm just going to be excited.
It's fair, because this is the game that everyone wants to like, or I want to say wants to love and likes with some caveats, right? I think I'm in about the same boat. I'm hyped for new content, and anything that's gonna draw people toward the game. I hate seeing like new content, like new costumes and colors, when there are very obvious problems or issues that it seems like are not being attended to. But right now, with where things are, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm excited to see this all come out. I'm excited to have it roll out and play in the updated version. And I think once the balance changes drop, that's going to see a new revival in the game. Not like on a huge scale, but I think right now, at least in my local community here, a lot of people are either not playing at all or just kind of taking it really easy because they're like, well, the game's going to change. And anytime you project balance changes and people know that their moves are going to change, like the jump back tech, for instance, they don't want to play because they feel like they're practicing things that aren't going to be there anymore. They might be making bad habits or practicing things that are going to quickly become moot. And so once this new balance drops, I think we're going to see a little bit more action in the game, people more enthused to play it, and more numbers in local and major tournaments. So I'm excited for that as well.
Okay, I mean, I'm excited for Ed. I played a lot of Ed in the beta and really enjoyed him. I'm not really sure where he lays in the landscape in terms of tiers. No clue.
Oh, yeah.
But when I went back to Akuma, he'd actually taught me a lot about the game. So now I really need to do I realised that I need to go play all the characters. But the other thing I want to talk about is, so this drops sort of the 30th. That's about 3 weeks away from CEO. Is it 3 weeks? I think 2 or 3 weeks. And so it's going to be at CEO. That was confirmed by Jabali for me on Twitter, which is awesome. In the sense that we just need to fucking get on with it, right? We need to get on with it. We need to be playing the latest iteration of the game in preparation for Evo for sure. And this balance patch had to happen at some stage. There was never going to be a perfect timing for it. This isn't a bad timing for it. I mean, it's a good 2 or 3 weeks before CEO. So, and the changes aren't as drastic as they were last time, apart from the jump back OS. 2 things I wanted to say. One is you are coming out of retirement. Not that you ever really retired, but now you are actually going to be traveling and playing in a similar fashion to the way that you did when you were the world's greatest Goken, right?
Yeah, I'm going to. So I've changed my schedule around. I've changed my finances around so that I can now go to at least one CPT event a month. Hopefully, more than one on most months. And I've been grinding, just playing online, just working on tightening up my game. Things like addressing how to approach a top-level thinking player versus how to approach more of a Street Fighter V flowchart player and being able to switch gears really quick. So practicing things like that in preparation for making it out to these big tournaments. And once again, like going on this tournament circuit. And I will say that we recently had our bi-weekly Ranbats, and I saw a lot of growth in my play. I was finally able to win one of those, and I haven't been able to in a while. Yeah, and it was with like a very good confidence, and so I want to just take that and continue moving forward. So I'm very excited to go back into like the waters of competitive play out in California and out and about and see like play everyone from the scrubs and pools to the the Japanese and the Chris G's and all those people. I'm really excited. So hopefully I can be somewhat entertaining on the streams with my gameplay and put on a show for people and have a good time. So
well, you might have to change characters for that to be actually entertaining. But I hope that you're successful.
Touché.
No, I'm happy for you. Just tell me one thing. Why? Don't tell me. Tell the world. Why? Why are you suddenly back?
Here's what it was. It's funny because I said Chris G a second ago. It was, I think we were watching NorCal Regionals, and I'm sitting here on weekends like I always do, watching these tournaments and seeing all these guys that I know perform and have a good time and compete in these tournaments. And I go, I'm working at a job that understands, that would completely understand me going to these major events. When I was working at like Red Lobster, I'm like, hey, I gotta take this weekend off and like also 2 days around the weekend because I gotta go play video games. Is that cool? And you go, all right, they're probably not gonna get it and have sympathy. But of course, the event hubs guys, like, is there a better job where you could be like, hey, I need the weekend off to go play video games? Yeah, go for it. I will watch you on stream. Get an interview or something for us while you're there. And I realized, like, I love writing. It's such a blessing for me to be able to do what I want to do, which is write about the thing that I enjoy doing, which is playing Street Fighter and competitive fighting games. Like, that's in and of itself such a great success that, you know, that I'm excited about and I'm very appreciative of and thankful for. But my main passion is to compete, and that's always been me. That's always been what I've wanted to do. And so I sit here and I was watching, and I just remember seeing Chris G on the stream and being like, man, I used to be there with them, playing with those guys, playing with Chris G, and he's there every single weekend. He's playing like every single game too and getting top 8 or winning. And I'm like, I want to be like, I'm happy with where I'm at, but I also want to be, you know, in that realm with Chris G. Like, I want to be at these tournaments. I want to be playing these games. And so in a weird way, I guess Chris G inspired me to realize that my passion is playing. And so I'm like, I need to switch some things around and just go tackle it. I don't have a girlfriend right now. Don't have anything holding me back. I'm just gonna go play some Street Fighter, have fun, see the guys. It's gonna be a good time.
I think that's true. Oh, the reason I wanted you to say it was because I feel like that's true of everybody involved, like, in some form or fashion. And if it's not, then I don't know why you're involved. Like, I think basically, like, you love the game. You know, I love the game. You love the game. Like, we love the game. Like, we want to play. Like, before I got on here, what was I doing? I was playing Street Fighter. Like, I was like, I should just get one set in before you know, like online. I was just like, I need that fix. I need to go have that one set before I go talk to Velociraptor. Like, I need to just do it. Like, because I've just woken up and that's what I need to do. So
it's interesting, and that's cool because we all share that. I like that's kind of at the core, and it's very clear that some people go to compete and that's it. Some people go to watch other people compete. Some people go to do interviews and whatnot. But at the core of it, we're all there because we enjoy playing and the atmosphere and being a part of that. What Street Fighter has created, and one more note I wanted to add on top of that is that when I sat and I thought about it, I went, you know, I would have such a regret if all I did was watch my friends and such playing Street Fighter V competitively like I want to do, and I just sat here and only wrote about it and only watched them and never actually got out there and do it. So it's also kind of like the fear of regret that motivated me forward into doing this. But here comes the cliche: follow your passion, kids. Chase your dreams.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's that's a whole nother video. So let's talk about a couple of other things fairly quickly. Ultra Street Fighter 2 is being released tomorrow, I believe. Yeah, on the 26th, on Friday, coincides with the ELeague finals. Let me ask you two questions. First one is, are you interested in it? And then I guess the second question, before you launch into this one.
Yeah.
The second question is, do you think you're the target market? Because I think those questions are those two questions go hand in hand, to be honest. Because, well, you go for it. Like, do you want to play it? Do you want to buy it? Do you want to play it? I know you don't have a Switch, but I think your roommate does have a Switch. Like, do you want to play it? Do you want to try it? Do you want to try it?
I would, if I were at like a get-together or something and people had Ultra Street Fighter 2, I would be excited to sit down, try out the new characters, mess around with, you know, just play some Street Fighter, play some old school Street Fighter, absolutely. I am not a Street Fighter 2 junkie.
Yeah.
And I know there are plenty of people that are, and I don't think that even those people are that excited about it. It feels like it's fun if it's accessible and it's there. So like when I say, if I'm at a get together and it's right there in front of me, of course. But it feels like it's locked behind a few like firewalls. So you have to get a Switch for a couple $100, then you got to buy the game, and it's like $40. And the general reviews have said, or the general gist of a lot of the reviews have said that it's not worth a $40 price tag. That's its own little conversation, though. So you got to get the Wii or the Switch. You got to get the game, and then you would technically have to wait and then buy one of the fight sticks for the Switch, which I don't even think are out yet. But there's so many things. Like you'd end up spending hundreds of dollars in order to play this game. Wait,
hold up 1 second. I really hate the argument that you have to buy a Switch. So this game is for the Switch. It's for people who have the Switch. I hate that argument. So.
Oh, well, okay, so yeah, I mean, that's coming from the perspective of a fighting game player that doesn't have a Switch. If you already have a Switch, let's say you do, okay, fine.
I think that's the way you should think about it. I think the way you should think about Ultra Street Fighter 2, because it's clearly not, it doesn't look balanced to me. It looks like it's supposed to be a fun game, right? So,
yeah, Street Fighter 2 never was.
I don't think the argument, like, I have to go out and spend $300 on a Switch to play this game, like, I don't really think that's what we're talking about here. I think we're just talking about, like, if you have a Switch, like, there's this game, Ultra Street Fighter 2, right?
Yeah.
Like, for fighting game players, it sounds like what you're saying to me is, like, it's maybe not that exciting for fighting game players.
For the competitive scene, I think the people that like to play Super Turbo competitively have it. They have the board and they're already playing it. So it's not going to draw those people. And I don't think that the new modes are cool. The color swaps and like the way of the Haru, it's interesting, but it's not, I don't think those things are going to draw someone to buy the game or not.
Way of the Haru. I'm doing it now.
Way of the
I'm doing it now. It's fun.
And then there are 2 new characters, which would be, I think, the main draw for the competitive scene. Like, oh, well, okay, 2 new characters. That opens up a whole bunch of new possibilities.
Yeah. Do they look balanced? Do they look balanced? I don't know. I guess we can't judge that until we play it. I mean, if they're balanced, fuck, wow, that'd be amazing. But I don't know.
You know, I was reading a review. I think it was the Eurogamer review, which totally skewered it. But they said Violent Ken, his name, and I never thought about it like this, but it makes total sense. Violent Ken's name is funny because Ken's already a very violent person. You know, he fights. All we see him do is fight. So for him to be violent, it's like, does he draw extra blood or something like that? Is he Mortal Kombat Ken? Like, I don't get it. But
I hope you can unlock, like, I hope he rips somebody's head out with their spine, and Violent Ken stands there like this, and like the game.
And it says Sub-Zero wins.
Yeah,
like,
the game is being played by like 10-year-old kids on the Switch. I just think that'd be funny.
But no, I can't tell you what the audience. I think like maybe the audience. Here's what the audience is. It's Street Fighter dads that now have a family that have a Switch that want to share Street Fighter 2 with their kid.
That's what I think the audience is. That's exactly what I think the audience is.
Yeah, and like that's great, and I'm all for that, and that's a Kodak moment for sure. But are you gonna sell this game? I hope so. I don't see how. So good luck. Street Fighter 2, nostalgia, great. I see what you're doing. I hope it does well. I don't have high hopes for it.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know that I have anything to add. I think the main thing is that I think that you and I are not... I really don't think you and I are the target market. So I think the target market is... I think you hit the nail on the head. I think the target market is kind of like Street Fighter Dad. That's such an interesting term. Street Fighter dads, right? I do think it's that. I think it's kind of like, hey, Johnny, or whatever the fuck you call your kid, because I don't have kids. But like, hey, let's get this fun fighting game because I can like beat you up and like it's gonna be fun and or I can train you, whatever, right? Like, but it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be just like my days when I was in the arcade. You pick. Who did you just pick? Violent Cat? What? Whatever. It's gonna be interesting to see how it does. Interesting to see how it does. The Nintendo is a world to its own at the moment. You know, for a long time now, it's been.
It always has been.
yes and no. Like when it first started with the NES and the SNES, it was, you know, it was the core of video
it was
games.
the main thing, and then there was like Sega on the side and things like that. But
and
now
then,
it's gone off of its own like family-based tangent.
Right.
With a couple of really good games on the side.
Well, again, that's a whole nother video. I could talk to you forever about the genius of Nintendo and how they actually created, and companies don't do this, right? Nintendo actually created markets, you know, because they literally, when they brought out the Wii, so what happened was Microsoft and Sony came in and said, hey Nintendo, hey Sega, thank you for creating the console market for us, we'll take it from here, cheers. And Nintendo went, well, we can't compete with these guys, so we're going to have to create whole new markets. So that it's a whole nother video. I think it's genius, but whatever. So it'll be interesting to see how Ultra Street Fighter 2 does. We talked about the balance changes. I wanted to talk about just kind of a fun thing. So there's 4 players who are in ELeague and in Red Bull Kumite, right? Daigo, Phenom, PR Balrog, and Xiao Hai. Xiao Hai? I don't even know if I'm saying that right.
I say Xiao. Like
Xiao. That's it. It's fucking Xiao Hai. I knew it. When I was watching myself back on a recording of another video we did, I was like, you sound weird, Mark.
I don't know that that's necessarily how it's said. That's just how I've always said it.
Xiao Hai. That makes. I think that is how it's said. Xiao.
We'll talk about Shen on the next episode.
Xian. I say Xian.
See, there you go. Who knows?
Because I'm pretty sure he explained to me on Twitter once how it's pronounced, but I might be wrong. Everyone says Xian. Even like his, you know, even like Z, I think says Xian. So I'm totally confused.
Yeah. But anyways, the Red Bull Kumite and ELeague overlap.
Yeah, I mean, so there's 4 players who could potentially do the double. The reason that's interesting to me as an Englishman is because we always talk about the double and the treble when we're talking about football. Let's say soccer. All right, I don't really like using that word. I don't really like using that word. I don't really like using that word because we use our feet to kick the ball. Therefore, we call it football. But whatever, right? So
that's another video.
It's not a video. It's not. It's just I've said it. I've done it. I've ended my career in America, my life in America. But Daigo, Phenom, PR Balrog, and Xiao Hai, right? There's this in my head. There's this interesting idea, like, what if one of them won ELeague, flew, and by the way, PR Balrog told me in his interview that the Red Bull would take care of flying them from ELeague to Red Bull Kumite, so I'm assuming that they'll all get on the same flight, by the way. And all sleep, or they'll all just play games together, who knows, like, if it's a private jet or what, I have no idea. But, like, Red Bull Kumite will make sure that they get there. When, I don't know. How much sleep they'll get, I don't know. How quickly they'll acclimatize, I don't know. But do you think that any of those players? Do you think do you think it's possible, like, for one of those players to be able to go to ELeague on Friday night, play their arse off, right? Win ELeague, somewhat celebrate, maybe. I don't know if they win it. Get on a plane, fly to Paris. Right, which is where I believe it's in Paris.
Yes,
it's only in France. And compete on the Sunday and win on Sunday.
Here's the thing. As a tournament player, I haven't been in that situation where you go from country to country in a day and a half span and participate with the best in the world. But I have had days where I come in to play, like at Wednesday night fights, and I got plenty of sleep and ate my veggies and had my Wheaties and everything, and I'm ready to go, and I do terrible. And there are other days, like one time I was in a team tournament here in town, and I wasn't planning on participating, ended up getting 2 hours of sleep, had my plans for that day canceled, so made it barely to the tournament, got teamed up with 2 random people, and we got to like 3rd place, and it was 100% just me playing, half conscious, sleeping, and beating everybody. So I say all that to say yes, it's a factor. Fatigue and jet lag and all that stuff, you can't just completely ignore it. But how it will affect a specific player on a specific day is almost a crapshoot. Sometimes it's the worst thing in the world. Sometimes it makes you more relaxed and you take the right risks at the right time. So I don't see how to, like, properly factor that in to say it's going to be a problem, or even like maybe it's a boost. Who knows? But I wouldn't use the fact that, you know, like PR Balrog's traveling and so isn't, so I'm going to give the edge to so and so. I don't think that it's going to be that huge of a thing. I think when you're on, and when, you know, maybe ELeague, it like just like sparks this passion in them. Like maybe PR Rog wins ELeague, or let's say Daigo wins ELeague, and he's just on this, like, you know, this spree, and he just carries that straight over to Red Bull Kumite and wins that. Yes, I can see that happening. But I can't say that just like the intensity and the closeness of the two events being next to each other is going to have an actual effect or not.
You know what? I just thought of Red Bull. The drink was designed for this scenario. It was fucking designed.
Man, you should get into marketing or something, man.
It was designed. I know, right? I should get into marketing. It was designed for this scenario. If somebody wins ELeague and then wins Red Bull Kumite and drinks Red Bull, that's a good advert for Red Bull, right?
And if it's like one of the Red Bull reps.
Just anyone. It doesn't. I mean, they're all going to probably be drinking Red Bull. I'm sure of it. So. Out of Daigo, Phenom, PR Balrog, and Xiao Hai, do you feel like any of those, do you feel like any of those, like, may have an advantage?
I guess, so I can't argue against Phenom's recent tear through things. Like, he's always winning when I'm like, ah, he's not going to win this one. Oh, he totally won it by a lot. Xiao Hai is amazing. He just got over his demon in Knuckle Dew, and he got over it in a big way.
Yeah.
Daigo is, I believe, on the verge of making his Street Fighter V breakthrough, where he returns to his Daigo status, where he's figured the game out, and he gets to play his style, and he's comfortable, and he's made his transition to Guile, and Guile's good, and he figures it out. I'm hoping that happens at ELeague, because I think it would be awesome. Not to be like a super Daigo fanboy, I don't, whatever, but like, and then I can totally.
It's fine. It's fine to be a super Daigo fanboy.
No, I know. I'm just like, I'm not gonna like, oh, I just love Daigo especially. It's just like right now, I just want to see that, because I guess it's kind of a fun narrative, because he's been so far behind where his normal status is, you know. But I believe that, like, Daigo being a Batman kind of player, we're about time to see, like, you know, the fruits of his labor.
I think Daigo, just to add to that real quick, I think Daigo has a tendency to focus on specific tournaments. He's not on 100% all the time, we know that, because there's a big history of he's washed up. Oh, no, now he's not. Oh, yeah. He's washed up. Now he's a god. Now he's washed up. Now he's a god. The reason is because basically he pinpoints. I don't think anyone can be on 100% all the time, and I think what Daigo does is pinpoints specific tournaments. And if you're going to pinpoint anything this year,
you better do ELeague, right?
Well, ELeague this weekend. This weekend is the perfect focal point for you as a player. If you're in ELeague and you're in Red Bull Kumite, I mean, I don't even know if they make money at Red Bull Kumite or not, but like, you're gonna. I'm
sure they do.
You're gonna make a nice chunk of change if you do well at both.
But yeah, I can see to answer your question, I can see any of them doing it. I'm overwhelmed with it's like Street Fighter V is inconsistent, sure, but these players are all over the place in their understanding and their approach and their personal evolution. You know, we see PR Balrog recently figuring out how to do Balrog at, you know, like a very strong character, but at a high level. The implications there are even scarier. So, yeah, I am very excited to watch it. I am very excited to see how it all plays out. I'm thinking, like, I don't usually set aside time to, like, see the tournaments. I'm usually just watching them because of work. I have Friday off. I'm going to probably sit and watch ELeague and make it a point to do that. So I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm sorry, I was just looking at my notes there. But, yeah, I'm excited by this weekend. We got a bunch of stuff going on. And, yeah, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about. I'm excited for... You know, I'm excited for Vega's stage. I'm excited to hear the music again, actually. That should be interesting to see what they do with the theme. Well, I mean, like, they keep doing stuff with the themes, right? And
yeah, like making them...
And I remember Vega's music in particular for some reason, particularly when it's sped up. I think it just used to freak me out.
Vega was an intense character for when we were kids, for sure. I thought he was a girl at first because he had the long hair and he made, like, the high-pitched noises.
I think that he's kind of supposed to be like that, right? He's supposed to be
a little metro.
Very beautiful and effeminate character. You know, so It's Street Fighter, dude. That's what it is. Have you seen Ed's third costume? Come on now. So I think that's it. Basically, I think you should go about and do whatever it is you do today, which is Event Hub's work.
Yep, gotta start working half an hour.
Maybe
I'll write some articles on this stuff about dad Street Fighter. What do we call it? Street Fighter dads.
Street Fighter dads. Yeah.
I like that.
Target market. And I will edit this thing here and get it.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
All right, dude. So let's say goodbye to everybody.
See you later. Bye, Internet.
Waving, salute. Whatever. Bye.